We don't know what has become of the other recovered money. We don't know because they keep telling us the hopes and dreams of what they're going to do with it. But my eyes have not seen what my ears have heard. They have not seen it. Hi, my name's Korede and welcome to Dimoye, a people-led movement to build Africa. And this is Triggered, where we react to information coming from the continent together. Okay, let's go.
The federal government has received over $311.79 million of the Abacha assets repatriated from the US and the bailiwick of Jersey. This is confirmed in a statement from the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abacha. According to the AGF, the amount is a significant increase from over $308 million earlier mentioned in a release issued in February 2020 because of the accruing interest between February the 3rd and April the 28th when the funds were transferred to the Central Bank of Nigeria.
So the story here is that Abacha, who was a Nigerian head of state between 1993 and 1998, has very kindly given Nigeria an alert. Yes, he has deposited money to Nigeria and it's really something to behold. Abacha is the gift that keeps on giving. This is not the first time that Nigeria have received an alert from beyond the grave, and specifically from Abacha himself, or well, from the money he was keeping for us for the future. In total, since he died, $3.6 billion have been recovered. That's equivalent, or even more, should I say. It's more than the amount Nigeria recently borrowed from the IMF for the fight for COVID-19. Yeah. This shows the extent of the corruption, the extent of the greed that is happening, specifically in Nigeria, but I'm sure we can see traits of it in other countries as well. I mean, what will someone do with $3.6 billion that they had no way of spending? There was no way. He died before he even had a chance to spend it. You cannot take the money with you to the grave. I for the life of me, cannot understand what his plan was. I can't understand it. The recent recovery of $311 million was from the USA. And initially, when it was agreed that they were going to send the money back, they were going to send us $308 million. But between February and the time that they actually sent it, which is in May, it had accrued an extra $3 million. Just because it was sitting in the bank. So now they have taken all that money out and they have passed it. They have given it to the federal government. Nigerians have had a lot to say about this. One, because if we can accrue that kind of interest on this money, let's leave it. Let's leave it there because, let's be honest, when they give it over, we don't know what will happen to it. We don't know what will become of it. We don't know what has become of the other recovered money. We don't know because they keep telling us the hopes and dreams of what they're going to do with it. But my eyes have not seen what my ears have heard. They have not seen it. So in real life, I see the point in terms of let's leave it there until we find good governance that we can then trust them to do good things with that money. The other issue is that the federal government has said that they will use that money to improve Nigeria in terms of the roads. So in particular, there's a Lagos to Ibadan express that they want to use the money to speed up the process of finishing that work. I'll tell you for free. That work has been going on as long as I can remember. It doesn't take that long to build a road. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of building a road. So let me not say too much. But it's the time I can remember from 2012, they've been building that thing. So You cannot tell me that's what you're going to do with the money when that road, the building of that road has eaten millions and millions of dollars. It's eaten it up. We do not know what's become of those projects. The issue is not the plans they have for the money. Because if they used it for those things, no one would be mad. We're just not convinced that it will be used for those things. And that's such a shame, because it brings me to the point that when you lose the trust of the people, it's near on impossible to get it back. It has meant that it doesn't matter what is said, people simply don't believe it anymore. It's a message to those who are the leaders of Africa in all the different countries, that the trust of your people should be paramount, or one of the highest things on your list. Because when the people are on your side, there's so much you can do. When they are on your side, not opposing you every day, not everything, when you sneeze, they have something to say. It's hard enough building a country without having opposition from your own people. That's not what anybody wants or needs. So those who are looking to go into politics, we need transparency in governance now. People aren't just going to take your word for it. We want to see the receipts. Like, I want to see the receipts. In this here 2020, that's what good governance looks like. People who are willing to take the public along with them on the journey of building Africa. That will be how we move forward. Namibia have announced a 5-year ban in buying new cars for people in government, in order for them to be able to fight COVID-19, so that they can, channel the money that would have been used on new cars to actually saving lives, which we applaud. That's fantastic. It's really refreshing to see people in government make sacrifices for the greater good, for the people that they have agreed to serve. Because at the end of the day, being a government official, being in the government is a service. You are a public servant. So if it means that you have to take a cut here and there in order to improve the lives or to help the people you agreed to serve, you put your hand up and said, yeah, I'll do it. So in real life, if you agree to be a servant, a public servant, then it makes sense that within that role, there will be sacrifices that you would need to make when the moment arises. We need to choose leaders who are willing to make those sacrifices. So this decision will save the Namibian government $10.7 million. Wow. I mean, we're spending this much on cars. I'm confused as to why, in the building process of Africa, in the time where we are trying to create a better continent, why our government officials require so much money to live. Again, I keep saying it's a public service role. It's not a business. This is not a place for you to come and collect your retirement plan and go and look after yourself. I really think that we have to review the role of our leaders. It's not supposed to be a job that everyone is supposed to say that they want. It's a difficult job because we're in the building phase. I almost think we need to make the role look less appealing, to be honest. We need to make the role of governance less appealing so that those who are really serious about sacrificing and really serious about building and really serious about actually seeing change in Africa, maybe those are the people that would begin to step forward. Because right now, because the job just looks so fancy and there's so many perks and stuff, people think, oh yeah, let me take that. That looks nice. We've seen people in government go in with nothing or with very little and come out as kings and queens. They're able to stand alongside the richest people in the world. That wasn't what we sent you there for. Just get rid of all the perks. In fact, throw it all in the dustbin. And then let's see who will really take this role, who's really interested. Because in the time of building, our focus should be on just that. Making sure that the country that you reside over is better because you came. But yes, Namibia, this is a great start. This is really, really welcomed. This is really fantastic. But I think it calls into question the perks that come with the role. It calls all of that into question. So in this story here, African countries have come together to tackle the situation with regards to getting medical equipment to fight COVID-19. They've really struggled because as individual countries, they haven't really been taken seriously because their orders tend to be smaller than the rest of the world's orders. Many of our orders have been rejected, and that has made it difficult to be able to continue to test people. We've seen that testing on the continent has not been as extensive as the rest of the world, and that's partly to do with the lack of access to tests. Having said that, I still really think that we should use what we have on the continent first and foremost. So we have Senegal's testing kits. If they pass the tests and they work, I don't really know why we need to be looking elsewhere, to be honest. So I personally think that should be our first point of call. But for things like ventilators and other pieces of equipment, yes, maybe perhaps it makes sense to find a way to be able to have more market power when we make orders. So by coming together, it means that our orders will be larger. We'll be looking at buying in millions in terms of the units that we're ordering, rather than the hundreds of thousands or whatever it is that each individual country was trying to order. I love this because it means we are starting to realize that as a continent, we are stronger together. In real life, there are many countries on the continent that are already doing well, but they don't get the kind of press or focus as the other countries, because whether we like it or not, Africa is judged on the majority rather than the minority, so a few countries here and there that are doing well. Nobody cares about the fact that we have the anomaly here and there of 1-2 countries that seem to be flourishing when the rest of the continent isn't there yet. So it only makes sense that if we want to change the narrative of Africa, we focus on actually building the entire continent. And that's why Vimoye focuses on Africa as a whole rather than one particular country. It's so unfortunate that it's taken a pandemic for us to stop fighting the Africa as a whole narrative. We're so afraid of being seen as just one conglomerate that we have essentially pushed each other away. We've fought to be individual countries rather than just coming together and being like, actually, we are stronger together. For the purposes of building our continent, we are stronger together. Yes, there are many different cultures and groups and tribes on the continent, but even within one country, there are many different groups. So to even try and say, oh, I want to be one country is even futile. So why not just come together as a whole to build the continent? Because it doesn't even make sense that it's more difficult for me to fly from one African country to another than it is for me to go from an African country to a European country and then back to an African country. That's cheaper. It is so difficult to move around Africa from one country to another country. I use that as an example because I think, or I feel like that is a sign of how fragmented we are. We are so outward looking. We're trying to make deals with the rest of the world that we've forgotten that our focus, our strength is together, is on the continent. Yeah, so I really hope this is the start of something new. Ay, it feels so right. Ay. I really hope this is the start of something new. That's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Please do let me know what you thought about the topics we covered in the comment section. And if you can't wait all the way to next week to find out what's going on the continent, follow us on Instagram, where we keep you guys posted. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any other content. See you again next week. Bye. Vimoye is a people-led movement to build Africa, and we're starting with education. We want to improve the access to education for those on the continent, and we are taking a holistic approach to doing that. So we're not just looking for teachers, we're looking for people with so many different skills that can be a part of the building process. If that resonates with you in any way and you really want to be a part of actually changing the narrative of the continent, then please do get in touch with us. You can find us on Instagram using the @the Foundation. Together, I really do believe that we can build the Africa we've always known was possible.